In this episode, we speak to Iolo Williams, TV presenter, broadcaster, and he is very Welsh. This is probably the most fun we've had making a podcast. Iolo is such good fun to be around. I've done nothing but laugh and smile all the way through editing this episode. Iolo invited us to Lake Vyrnwy, which is where he grew up as a child, and he used to go swimming in the lake. He also told us about his grandfather, who used to be a poacher and taught him to catch fish with his bare hands. Keep watching and listening. Iolo really will make you laugh. I hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making it. And here's something to start you off.
There's one thing I do not like is the open,
the
full face mask diving. Going down, you know, you're thinking, my ears hurt, and look at the size of my nose, right? They give you two little balls to shove in your nose so that you can equalise. Not open hell with that nose. Look at that. Look at that thing. They can give me two cups to shove up my nose.
It's Craig and Jim from the Dive Line, and we are in the most beautiful part of Wales here at Lake Vyrnwy. Is that the correct?
Yeah, Lake Vyrnwy.
Vyrnwy.
Yeah.
And we are with Iolo Williams. Iolo, for our audience, we know you as a TV presenter, as a broadcaster, a public speaker, and also as somebody who's very, very Welsh, which is a very good thing.
Yeah. Welsh first language.
Yeah.
So all I can say is croeso I Llanwddyn.
I agree.
So it means welcome to Lake Vyrnwy.
Yeah. And this is where you actually grew up. This is your backyard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is where I grew up. This is where I used to wander all around here, all around the woods, you know, and up on top you got the moors. From the age probably about 7 or 8 years old, me and little dog we had at the time, Bitu, I used to come along here on the bike, push bike. The dog was in my coat, and I used to dump the bike and then go up on the hills. And actually, this is where I first snorkeled as well.
Really?
Because I used to fish a lot, and you're not meant to fish in here. You're meant to get a sort of, you know, day pass or whatever from the Lake Vyrnwy hotel. Right. But as local lads, we never did any of that. You're meant to go out in the boat. So
that was for the tourists.
Yeah, that's for the tourists. So I used to go along, and there's a good spot just along here. I used to sort of snorkel along the edge there, looking under the bushes where there was some big fish in there, and then you'd come back at night, you know, and put a line in and then get him out. And now the Lake Vyrnwy Hotel will never welcome me back for a beer again, I don't suppose.
So obviously, I mean, growing up around here, is this where you got your passion for sort of the natural world from? Just walk. I mean, if this doesn't inspire you, then you know nothing will it?
Yeah, that spot on there. It's just an amazing place. You know, it's just an amazing place, and it was a privilege because when I was here. The little village here, there was a school here then, 60 kids, it's gone now, it closed in 2009, 60 kids here, so there's always kids to play with, you know, you'd build dens, you'd race bikes, we'd play rugby, we'd play football, all that kind of stuff, but also for me, it was the wildlife, and most of that I did by myself. There weren't many people interested in it, you know, most of them were farming stock, you know, and were into their sheep and their cattle and all this and all that. But
did it come from your father? Was your family involved? Was he a gamekeeper or something?
No, he wasn't. He was the headmaster here at the local school. Dad was, I mean, Mum was a teacher, but it came more than anyone. I mean, they were both interested in wildlife, but it came from Tide, Grandad. He was a poacher, you know, he was a poacher, and he used to take me under his wing. He said, hey, come with me now, and he'd show me to catch fish with my hands, you know, you'd do all this. Yeah, you'd lie on the bank of the river and your hand would go under, you'd feel the fish slow, you'd tickle the fish slowly, get up the gills, put a thumb in one side, finger in the other, and out with the fish. And he was brilliant. He showed me...
What, salmon or trout? Or
no, it would be trout up here. Yeah, the salmon can't get up here, unfortunately, and, you know, so it was always trout. Brown trout, a few grayling as well, a few eels, but that was it. So you didn't have the variety of fish, but then, you know, the trout, about £1.5 pounds. So they were a nice size, a really decent size.
So you're a fish whisperer then? That's
I know about a fish whisperer, but it was good fun, and it was good. And he sort of showed me what plants I could eat and what plants I couldn't eat. I remember digging up
foraging,
pig nuts and all that kind of
fantastic
stuff, the fungus, and it stood me in good stead because when I left the school here to go to high school 10 miles away on the bus, hated it, absolutely hated it. And on a Monday morning we had double maths and physics. I eat maths, I eat physics. So I used to get off the bus and skive for the day, and I didn't have to worry about food. You know, I'd dig for pig nuts or whatever. Wow. Yeah, it was.
So if you didn't like high school, You, after high school, you actually went to London, to East London Polytech for a degree in ecology. I mean, that must have been some culture shock. You ain't got no sheep in East London. I mean, that coming from growing up here. But that must have been, crazy to be find yourself in East London as a lad.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was a reason for it. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I very nearly went in the army. Came within a whisker of going in the army, and then I went on to do my A-levels. I only did 2. I scraped through a C and an E, and that wouldn't get you into Borstal, would it? But it's enough to get me down to North East London Polytechnic, and it was brilliant. Bear in mind, I just turned 18. I was very young. My birthday is end of August, so I'd only just turned 18. And hormones through the roof, and you're thinking about rugby, women and beer. Yeah. To be honest, at that age, and I thought, London, that'll do me.
Is that the only reason you went there then?
That was the main reason, really. It was.
They'd let him in as well, was it?
It was the only one that would have me, to be honest. But it was. I really enjoyed it. I really liked East London. I liked the mix of the local people, the white boys.
Where I grew up. Stratford. It's not there anymore.
That's what I was.
That's what I was.
Yeah. Two puddings.
I was Ilford, just a little bit east of there. I grew up,
Lancing Road was my first digs down in Ilford. It was honestly, it was lovely. I loved the locals.
So what year was this? When was
1980 to 83.
Right. Okay.
And I played rugby. I played for Barking down there. And all that. And it was brilliant. I loved it. I had 3 very, very good years, and I didn't miss some things. I missed in March, early April, when you're up on the moors, when the first curlew were back on the hill, and a lovely bubbling call. I missed that, but because you were so busy with a variety of things, you didn't have any money, of course, so you were playing rugby, you were doing other things. But I liked London. I couldn't live there now. I just couldn't live there.
You're back home, aren't you?
Yeah. So, but it was about 3 really good years.
For somebody that age, not only are you learning, but to learn in that environment and have London on your doorstep.
It's completely opposite to this.
It is. It is. Yeah, different worlds. Completely different worlds. But I did enjoy it. And I'm so glad that I went there. A lot of people say, "Oh no, London's too big. It's dangerous and this and that." Do you know what? I loved it. And as I said,
people fear the
local
unknown.
Community were fantastic. I had a great time. Call me Taff. He said, "Take the mick out of me, sheep shagger and all this kind of stuff." But you expect that, that's
welly boots for Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. Velcro. You wearing your Velcro trousers and all this to go home. But I love all that.
Banter.
Like these days, they say, "Oh, you can't say that. That's PC." I'm not offended by that. One of my favourite kind of jokes is what do you call a sheep tied to a lamppost in Wales? A leisure centre. I don't. That doesn't. It doesn't offend me. Not one bit. I think it's funny. And if we lose that humour, it would be such a shame.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's too much. I mean, you can understand some of the PC, but there is too much PC. Absolutely.
So obviously after the sort of trip to London and your 3 years there, you joined the RSPB, or you went to work for them?
Yeah, I did. I worked on a farm up here for a while. I worked in the forestry for a while as well, and then started working with the RSPB in beginning of 1985, and that was a dream job. It was outside. It was working with birds, with most wildlife really, and it was cracking. There was 3 main parts to it. One was monitoring, so going out, and at that time birds like the red kites, it was really rare.
Lovely,
so it was sort of finding out where are they nesting, how many are they doing all right, are they not doing all right, if they're not doing all right, why, and that kind of thing. It was advisory, giving advice to big landowners, a lot of the forestry people, tell them, well, if you leave more open areas, it'll be better for this bird and that bird. And investigations as well. We had an investigations team, well, the RSPB still has, and I was the kind of link in Wales where you'd investigate crimes against wild birds, illegal shooting, poisoning,
people taking the eggs,
that's
and that sort of thing.
It. And that was, everyone thinks, oh wow, that must be very exciting. Well, 9 times out of 10, it's boring as hell. You're sitting in a hole in the ground waiting for someone to come and nothing happens. Getting wet, getting cold. But when something does happen, you had really.
Was that based here then, up because there's an RSPB?
This is the reserve. I was based in Newtown in Mid Wales, which is about 45 minutes south of here, but kind of covering the whole of Wales. So it was a lovely job.
But that must have been a job that you thought, I would do this as a volunteer, and I'm getting paid. It must have been that for you, that sort of job.
I've been lucky because ever since that point, my whole life has been one where I've genuinely pinched myself and thought, why are they paying me for doing this? but it is, what I do now is exactly the same. I tell people it's a hell of a hard job, doing telly. It's the easiest job in the world. It is. You just look at the camera, smile and say, well,
and tell them what you know about it.
And honestly, and that is it. So I have been really lucky. But the RSPB, I was there nearly 15 years, and for all bar the last 4 or 5 months, it was brilliant. It was the best job in the world. And I say bar the last 4 or 5 months because my old boss that I got on really well with, he retired, a new boss came in, and it wasn't his fault, but it was, we didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
He was a shirt and tie man. He wanted me to go into middle management, which involved giving up the field work, and and it just wasn't me. And I just said, sorry boys, I as much as it breaks my heart, I'm just going to have to leave.
And do you get involved with them now still?
I do help out still, oddly enough. I was on the phone to the head of investigations this morning. We had a couple of incidents in Wales this year that I've kind of been involved in, picked up dead bodies of birds and stuff, sent them off to be analysed. So, and if they picked up the phone and said, listen, we've got something dodgy going on, would you mind going and have a look? I'd drop everything and go and have a look for him.
Of course,
Craig does something similar. He does a BDMLR, marine mammal medic.
So
goes out and saves seals.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we unfortunately just had a very rare cetacean life stranding on the beach, and then it got washed up dead. We had a bottlenose a wow come up, and
that's the sad thing, and people get excited when you see a beluga
it was a
off
Sowersby,
the Thames, or a humpback whale up an estuary. Well, if they're doing that, they're about to die. They're in a bad way.
I mean, beaked whales, Sowersby whale just shouldn't be on the east coast of the UK, and we don't know why. Is it is it Navy sonar? Is it the wind farms? They're investigating that sort of thing now, but they're deep feeders, and it's shallow water. They've got no chance.
It's a job, isn't it, for that long?
But you mentioned the TV just a moment ago, so you're working for RSPB, and it must have been a fantastic job. When did the TVs come knocking? How did that happen, that you transitioned
by
into...
accident. But
normally is, isn't it? Right place, right time.
Well, the funny thing is, what I actually find quite sad in many ways is I meet a lot of youngsters now, very talented youngsters, good presenters, and all they've ever wanted
Thank you
is,
very much.
like yourself,
BBC.
And all they've ever wanted, I want to be on telly, I want to be on telly. And I find that in a way quite sad, because it's better if you get another job first, and then you get some
skills,
credibility behind you, skills and whatever. You get some knowledge
that you can then
pick up
bring
all of
to
that. And if you're a good communicator, telly will find you. They'll come, oh bloody hell, she was good, or he was good, or whatever, and then they'll come to you. And it's really sad. I've seen so many youngsters go into it and they've had their break, and then it's gone.
And they get completely disillusioned.
It kind of crushes them often, and it's really sad. So my advice always is, do something else first. Become a ranger, become a warden, do something else where you hone your skills, your identification skills, your knowledge, your
and you have a love for it that then comes across.
Yeah, that's right. And hopefully as well, you might think, do you know what, I love this job, I don't want to do telly anymore, and you feel like you're doing something really worthwhile. I envy the wardens here who can take a bit of land, he can manage it, change it. You see the wildlife come in, he must look at that and think,
I did that.
And that must be a lovely feeling. I've never actually had that. If you've had an effect, it's been something that might have appeared 10 years, 20 years down the line. So, but how I got into it was the media learnt that I was leaving RSPB, and I'd had to deal with the media as part of the work. So if you had a big poisoning case or
investigation
stuff, they always want to know, oh wow, that's a big
what
case.
Happened?
Speak to Iolo, he's the one who's involved in it, and it was a bit of a, they were a pain in the ass often, to be honest with you. Excuse my language here, but it was often, you'd say, okay, listen, I'm going to go up to that nest up there now. It's a rare bird, it's a kite, whatever it is. I'm going to go up. I'm going to bring the chicks down, we're going to weigh them, ring them, I'll talk to camera, whatever you want me to say, and then I'm going to go back up, put them back up, and then we're going to leave. And I'm going to take a maximum of 20 minutes doing that. And they'd always say, yeah, okay, fine. And then you do it, you talk to them, explain why you were ringing them and what results you'd had of all this work, and then you go back up, you'd come down, and the director every time would say, any chance you can do that once more?
They just don't get it.
No, there's no chance at all. So I'd always seen the media as a hindrance as much as a help, really. And when the offer came, I actually said no.
Oh, okay.
I had no interest in going into it. And then it was at a time when we just got married. We had a little boy, we had a little baby. Dewi'd come along. And I thought, for the first time in my life, I thought,
I need money.
I need money. I
need an income.
Because before then,
I've got responsibilities now.
I had enough to play rugby, go out and have a few beers with the lads, and that was it. Have a curry. The rest of the week didn't matter, you know. So for the first time, I thought, oh, okay. So I got back and said, okay, listen, let's give it a go. If you like me and I like you, great. If you don't, then it doesn't matter, you know. And that was 22 years ago now. Wow. So
I guess it's led into some really exciting things. I mean, we'll talk about the Great Barrier Reef in a little while, but being in TV has allowed you to pursue some sort of dreams, I guess, that you had as a child. So it's worked out good for you, really.
Yeah, it is a dream job, and I very lucky. You know, although I was reluctant at first, I'm so pleased, because I remember as a kid, you know, you're looking through magazines and books and seeing pictures of a polar bear or a blue whale or a grizzly bear, and you're thinking, wow, you know, knowing full well I'd be lucky if I saw one in a zoo, and that's it. And I've been so lucky to be able to go and see them in the wild. And it's turned out to be a dream job, a dream job. And what's brilliant is that initially a lot of the work was overseas for Welsh TV, mainly in Welsh. Since then I do very little for Welsh TV, it's mainly English stuff, and it's mainly UK based. And I got to be honest, I like that more. You know, because it's where my passion came from, and it's where I like to learn about stuff that I can see in my garden pond, or I can see in the local wood or the local park. It doesn't have to be a bear. I mean, bears are lovely, you know, fantastic thing to see. But even better is finding out what the newts are doing in my pond.
Well, do you know what? We were talking earlier, weren't we? I think you could have. We said bears and wolves around here. It's so much like Canada, isn't it? I mean, we've got some shots coming. It's just. It's incredible.
It is.
So what wildlife is around? There must be tons of wildlife.
Yeah, there is, and because you've got the lake, and the lake's not brilliant. It's a really deep. It's a sort of reservoir that was built in the 1880s. You know, so it's very deep and hasn't actually got that much wildlife. But you've got the woods around the valley sides here, and okay, you've got some alien conifers there, but you've got broadleaf trees, and then you've got the farmland, and then you've got the open hill. So in a fairly small area, you've got all those different habitats, and the wildlife will be different in each one, you know. So it was a great place to grow up and go explore. It's like a massive playground for me.
Yeah.
You know,
your enthusiasm for nature and the wildlife is clear for everyone to see. When did you take that underwater? So where did diving first come into, you know, what's below there?
Not in East London.
Besides the snorkeling as a kid, when did you start thinking about the underwater wildlife?
That is interesting, because I've always had a passion for it, and that began with things like rock pooling when I was a little lad. You know, I used to love rock pooling, and then I remember getting an old Dunlop mask, you know, frayed rubber and a bit of glass in it. It leaked all the time.
Just an oval.
Yeah, that's the one. But then put my face in there and thinking, oh wow, there's more of this. There's more underwater. But the first proper dive, actually, I didn't do till I was 40.
Oh really?
Yeah,
wow.
I didn't do my first dive till I was 40, and it was out of Fishguard in Pembrokeshire.
Yeah.
And there's a wall there going down. I remember going down. It wasn't deep. It was maybe 11 metres. Yeah. But I remember thinking, this is amazing. Yeah. You just go down slowly, and along this wall you've got beadlet anemones everywhere, and I thought, wow, look at that, the colours, you know. And then you come to the sort of kelp beds, and you go through that, and it's like going through the canopy of a rainforest, and then you get beneath that, and then you get to the bottom where, you know, you've got velvet swimming crabs and lobsters, and you just think, this is just amazing.
I'm sold. I want to start scuba diving now.
It was instant. It was absolutely instant. And what hit me was, up until that point, I'd gone around with one eye shut.
Yeah.
I'd sort of concentrated.
You didn't know
that
until the other eye gradually opens.
And I thought.
So you'd not considered scuba diving at all then until that?
Do you know, I had, but for someone who was working for the RSPB, skint, and you know, it is. It's kind of
you love the work, but you ain't getting paid much.
No, you're not getting paid much at all. It was expensive. Yeah. And bear in mind, here, it's about as far away in Wales as you can get from the
coast.
Yeah. It's an hour and a half away. Yeah. So it just, I'd always thought about it, and I remember watching Jacques Cousteau when I was a kid as well.
Just the opportunity wasn't there.
Just the opportunity, and the money wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, that opportunity came, And the next thing, I've got to do this.
So was that TV led then, or was that just something?
Initially no, but then that led on to them saying, "Oh, can you dive?" And I thought, right, okay, I'm going to get some kind of qualification.
Of course I can dive.
Of course I can dive.
Stupid question.
I
need to dive.
Can I do the open water, the advanced open water, the rescue dive, the dive master? How long will that take? How long? But then started diving. I got good mates down in Pembrokeshire I dive with. I got a very good lad, Martin Sampson, up on Anglesey, and he is brilliant, so I sort of qualified through Martin mainly, and then more and more dives, and that took me overseas as well. And of course now these days, if you want to dive on TV, you've got to have
the media,
dive master or
yes,
that's right. So you've got to have that.
So you did get to dive master?
I did. Did you
go any further, or
no? I didn't. I loved the open water.
Yeah.
I loved the advanced open water. I loved the rescue diver. I hated the dive master because that brought back in physics, mathematics, and I said, I'd left this behind at school. What is the physical stuff that you had to do? I loved that.
It's harder than you think, isn't it?
It is hard.
These people who think,
it was
I'm
for
going to be
me.
a dive master.
It was for me because I've got this mental block on physics and displacement and all this, and it is common sense. But when you've got a brain like mine, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But it was hard.
Did you do that here in the UK then?
Yeah, in the UK, and it was in February.
Oh wow!
Based up on Anglesey with Martin.
In a dry suit? Did you dry suit qualification?
Yeah. And some of it off Anglesey, Church Bay, and one or two other areas, but most of it in Dorothea, in some of the quarries. And I remember it was February the 4th. I remember it because there was ice that thick. We had to break the ice
to get in.
Just to get in, right? And then I had a free-flowing reg, because it was so cold, it froze. So we said,
and you still loved it?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then every time we came out, it was so cold. There was a calf not far away. You go in there, chunky chips and garlic mayonnaise and a big cup of tea. It's just brilliant. I love this. Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely brilliant.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So what was your first TV? Because we both saw the Barrier Reef. That was 2018, wasn't it? Mind blowing after diving in the UK.
It was earlier than that. It was about
17.
Probably 6 years ago, 2015.
Oh, was it as long as that?
Yeah, it was a fair time back now. But it was somewhere I'd always wanted to go to dive. Everyone says, "Oh, you've got to dive the Great Barrier Reef," and partly because of the mind-boggling array of wildlife, but partly because I wanted to see the damage being caused, and that was. So when I came back, it was with a mixture of anticipation and excitement going, but dread, and coming back, that dread was still there as well, because I was thinking, parts of it are a mess because of bleaching and storms and all this kind of stuff, and you're thinking, unless we change things worldwide, this is going to get worse.
And you saw a lot of it, didn't you? I mean, you were there for 3-4 weeks?
Yeah, I was there for 3 weeks. So we started in the north and worked our way key areas all the way down south.
But covered several thousand or several hundred miles?
I would have thought probably about 1,000 miles in all, but it's vast, it's huge. It's just an amazing place. Amazing place, and
there are some parts that are bleached, and we know about those, but some parts are fantastic.
They are,
I mean, the wildlife
pristine.
So you dive with sharks?
Dive with sharks. But I'd done that before because I dived with sharks out on the Polynesian islands. And I'd gone down with some locals who would hold their breath for like 18 hours, whatever it was. Amazing people. I could hold my breath for about 2 minutes, which I thought was good. And they'd still be there. I'd go up, back down. They'd still be there. And we went with this lad, and he was spear fishing, and to kind of provide food for the whole family, parrotfish, groupers, all kinds of stuff. And then he'd give me the spear with the fish to go up to put it in the boat and then back down again, and then he gave me this parrotfish, big old parrotfish like this, and I held it, and he said, and he just got hold of my arm, squeezed, so I let go, and it went like this. Tiger shark came in, took it. He'd seen it come around behind us like this, because we had white tip and black tip reef sharks, and they were just sort of circling. They weren't that interested. but tiger sharks.
And you'd not seen it?
No, it was behind me because I was looking
you,
at the fish, and he just could hold my hand and went like this, and he started following, and this tiger shark came in and took it.
Thank you very much.
So,
That's a free lunch for me.
And then he goes up now, you know. So, but yeah, I love sharks. I love sharks, and so to be able to dive with them again on the barrier reef and have them again, you know, just sort of circling around, like I say, they just. I think of all the creatures on this earth, you know, they've been designed superbly for life underwater. You know, they're just amazing things.
Just watching them swim,
well, they are
and there's just not a wasted movement. The whole way that they're designed.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody said redesign that, you can't do it any better.
No, that is it. You know, that is millions of years of evolution, and it's unchanged for tens of thousands of years, and you can see why. There's no point.
You just sit and watch them underwater, and it's spectacular.
Amazing things. You know, but the cool thing is that there's so many other places, so many other things I haven't seen. Hammerheads. I've never been in the water with hammerheads.
No,
fantastic. I know.
Yeah.
Last year I had hammerheads, unbelievable. It's just the most amazing thing.
Bahamas is the place to go.
Is it?
You get the hammerhead come in at a particular time of the year. I think it's March, if I remember right. Somebody will correct me.
I'm sure.
But 40, 50 in the water around you, just swimming around. And,
amazing. That's one there. And then whale sharks is the other.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've never been in the water with whale sharks.
We don't want Craig's story again.
Yeah.
We've had it on almost every episode. Yes, he did see a whale shark.
I have seen him once.
One day. But it's good, you know. I love that. That's one of the things I love about the natural world is that I've been so lucky seeing some amazing things, but there's so many things I've never seen, and I'm never going to live to see all of them, which is a good thing. Life would be boring if you say, "Oh no, I've seen that." I've seen that.
Yeah,
no. There's tons of things.
One of the things I thought was quite amazing that you did in that the Wonders of the Great Barrier Reef was that giant bull ray.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that is huge.
That was
Stingray's big brother.
I mean, you look tiny. I mean, you're not a small lad, are you?
No,
do you know what I
no.
mean? And you look tiny compared to that.
I'll tell you one thing. When that came, I thought, bloody hell! Look at the size of this thing. You know, it just goes like this, and I just thought, wow,
it's incredible.
It was an amazing.
And you
thing,
followed it along, didn't you?
Yeah, just slowly behind it, just watched it go. You know, just went slowly, let it go away. And what I love about them as well, whether it's bull rays, sharks, whatever, when they've had enough of you, they just look back and they just goodbye. Yeah. You know, so and obviously you don't hassle them and this and that, but just watching that, you just thought, wow. Yeah, that really.
So I mean, those waters are pristine clear, aren't they? Yeah. So you must have seen this coming towards you and thinking, what's this?
Well,
it's getting big.
That's exactly it. You thought, oh wow, this is cool, and then he came a bit nearer, and I thought, how far away is that thing? And then he came a bit nearer again, and I thought, holy hell, look at the size of that, you know. So I'd go up a bit here, let him come, here we go, and then it was lovely. Yeah, it was a brilliant thing.
It looked amazing.
And the other amazing thing, something I've always wanted to see, and it's maybe not attractive to everyone, was we had an olive sea snake as well.
I read about that.
I love those.
But they're pretty dangerous, them things.
Well, no, they're not. They're very venomous. In that the venom is toxic, but they're placid things.
But they're still dangerous.
Well, I mean, but you've got to. If you go around poking them like this, you're an idiot. And if you get
pull its tail, then you get what you deserve.
But if you just sort of float along and sort of watch it go, they got this laterally flattened tail like a paddle, and I was watching it and sticking its head into stones and.
But you got really close to it.
Well, I was just there like this, and it just came past me. No danger at all. It's not going to.
No, but if it did, you must have had some sort of safety team with you too.
No. There was me, another diver, one safety diver, and the boat up there, and sort of mile and a half. That was on the SS Yongala.
Oh yeah, the reef.
Yes,
the man-made reef.
Yeah, that's right. And I tell you that I'd have to say that man-made reef was as rich as any of the other reefs we dived. It's just
it looked
incredible.
amazing.
So let me ask you, we're going diving this afternoon. You're choosing wreck or reef. What are we going?
It wouldn't be either, would it? It'd be wildlife.
well, it'd be both of them for wildlife. I don't dive wrecks to take off wrecks.
No, it's only what lives in it.
It is. That's exactly it.
Giant group, whatever. That's the point of the wreck.
And I got mates who'll say, "Oh yeah, I went to Dorothea, went down to 37 metres. Oh, it was cool. What did you see? Nothing. Couldn't see anything." And I'm thinking, what was the point? For me, and I understand that you get your tech divers and all this. I'm not. I'm a recreational diver that's really into wildlife. So if I can go down, I don't care if it's 5 metres, I don't care if it's 25 or more.
What you see.
If it's something amazing to see, I say, yeah, let's go and have a look. So wreck or reef,
it's got to be reef, hasn't it? It's got to be.
Well, but I've seen some wrecks that are superb as well. Conger eels, some wrecks you go in, his mouth sticks out at you and think, wow, that's pretty good. So
the morays.
Some of the colourful morays are superb.
But then I went to the northern Red Sea after going to the southern Red Sea. So in the southern Red Sea, you've got the hammerheads, you've got the manta rays, you've got the turtles, you've got everything down there. Then I went to the northern Red Sea, and it's all wrecks. And every wreck I went to, I was looking out into the blue, thinking, something come and see us.
Oh right,
please, something come and see us. I just love the wildlife.
Yeah, that wouldn't interest me anywhere near as much as if it was wrecks, where the wildlife had colonised and it was all these colours and amazing variety of stuff there. So I'd probably have to go for reef then in that case.
So what's your favourite dive site? UK first, and then
UK. It would have to be a fairly large dive site, Scomer Island.
Oh, okay.
It's Wales' only marine nature reserve, and you dive there, and it's just different to anywhere else.
Is that off of Anglesey?
No, it's off of Pembrokeshire, the other end.
Oh, it's the south end.
South end, yes. Southwest, and it is amazing.
I've not heard of it, to be honest.
Well, that's what I first came across.
Near Tenby.
And west again. It's
west
kind
of Tenby.
It's an island.
Just chucking towns.
He's narrowing it down slowly. York, south. London, west.
No, only from a bit of boating that I know a little bit of that area.
It is lovely, honestly. It's a fantastic site. It's well known as a seabird island, puffins and razorbills, guillemots, that kind of thing. But the diving there is brilliant.
And so you're allowed to dive there then?
Yeah, you are. You get in touch with the Natural Resources Wales. They've got a local team there. They're good lads as well. Good people, I should say, lads and girls. And then you can either dive with them. I've dived with them several times, and it was the first place I came across things like sea fans in UK waters and sea cucumbers that I always thought, oh no, they're Mediterranean species, Here in Wales, you're joking. And there's something like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 species of sea slugs, most of them only about that big, but when you get a macro lens and you see them, you think, wow, blues and yellows and oranges and reds.
People think you've got to go to the Philippines or to see nudibrax, but here in the UK we get them in Norfolk, Wales, South Coast,
fantastic.
Under Swanage Pier, they're everywhere.
No, it is. So it would have to be Scomer. It is. I mean, 95% of my dives have been in UK waters.
So what about abroad? Obviously, you've dived the Great Barrier Reef, so that's sort of top of the pyramid.
Right.
Where else?
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to go for.
Or it could be bucket list. It could be somewhere you haven't dived
yet.
That's another question.
Yeah.
Bucket list. Yeah, that'll be a long answer. I hope you got enough batteries for that answer. I'm going to pick a dive called Japanese Gardens in Speyside in Tobago.
Wow.
Right.
Went there about best part of 15 years ago, and then it's kind of off the beaten track a bit, and there's this wooden shack there saying dive, and I went there and I thought, this is going to be a real cowboy outfit here, and I had a look at the gear, and a lot of it was torn a bit, frayed around the edges, and I thought, bloody hell. And it was a local lad, rasta hair and all this, and I thought, is he the diver? But I tell you what, he's one of the best divers I've ever dived with. His buoyancy was superb. And we went down to about 25 metres, and I remember there was a cave there, and we went to the entrance, and he said, and we just lay down like this, and there were 4 massive nurse sharks just lying there asleep, looking out at us. Wow. And I just thought, it doesn't get any better than this. So it would have to be that dive. Just because he was a memorable diver.
I was going to
Sea
say, so
fans
that's
were
probably your most
huge.
memorable
Yeah,
dive,
that would have to be the most memorable one, I think.
Wow.
That one.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lovely place as well. Really nice place. And the lad, he's a great character and a brilliant diver. Brilliant diver.
That up.
Yeah, do Japanese Gardens. It's a cracking dive. Cracking dive.
So a short answer, bucket list dive.
God. Do you know that's the thing in that? Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's made it even harder now.
God, that has, yeah. That's impossible. there are so many places I haven't dived. You'll be amazed I haven't dived. Red Sea being one of them.
Really?
I have never dived the Red Sea.
Southern Red Sea.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly.
I got mates who've worked out there on liverboards and all this kind of stuff. But one thing they've said is you should have come out 10, 20 years ago, because now we said we've packed for
But they'll
the
be
run.
saying that in 20 years
They
time.
will,
They'll
they
be
will.
saying,
I
if you've
accept
come
that,
here
yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
So you
I
still...
know. Yeah, I must.
got to.
I don't know,
Well,
now's a good time to go, you know, because we've all had this lockdown.
So much
there's not so many
recovery.
divers.
Yeah.
The recovery and the life out there at the moment. I mean, I've looking on Facebook at some of the guys that are out there. Honestly, the life is incredible.
Yeah.
So it's probably a good time to go.
A real lack of divers for the last 6 months has meant that the reefs are just got an abundance of life.
Yeah,
the regs
First
are...
EasyJet flight went in there yesterday.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, there we. Yeah, so it'll have to, and it's cheap, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
It is, though, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
so that may well be that may well be next on the list, I think. So yeah, I'd love to go out there. I'd love to go out there, and as you say, on a liverboard, just have a week. I know. Time it right. I'll have to time it right. That's the thing. That's the thing.
Or dugong.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen dugong. I've never seen dugong.
I'd love to.
No, I've never seen
I've never
dugong.
seen a dugong.
I'd just love to.
People on the dive that I've been on have got back on the boat and I'm earwigging. What is it they're talking about? And it was a dugong. I thought, mate, did they see a shark? And it was a dugong. I thought, oh no, I missed one, and it was on my dive.
It's gutting, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's gutting.
really.
Yeah, it is gutting. Yeah, dugong. But there's so many areas as well, you know, so many other areas. And one thing that I do want to do, and I'm not sure if anyone's ever done it, I want to dive with orcas in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some of those pods
there's
off
a pod
the
in the
North Coast.
Sea.
You know, some of those pods
How
around
fantastic
sort
would
of
that be?
Shetland, particularly.
Yeah.
Caithness
Phone
as
me
well,
when you
Orkney.
go. I'm there with you on that one.
Because
I've got the camera.
they're so intelligent.
Yeah.
They know a human, you know, and I've heard tales that, well, I've actually seen footage where people have been out for a swim and the orcas have gone underneath them.
Yeah.
And often the people are not aware of them.
I know. It's
You
mad,
know,
isn't
and
it?
you just think, I'd love to dive with those and have them just come round and have a look at you. That, you know. Yeah, so there's so many things I haven't done left.
So is
to
that
do.
the bucket list animal or?
No, I've seen orcas. Bucket list animal would have to be probably hammerhead whale shark. I don't know, both. A dive
A
where I can see
hammerhead
both.
swimming alongside
Yeah.
a whale shark.
Yeah, those two would be top of my
Red
bucket list.
Sea.
Diving, yeah, I know.
Mexico.
Yeah. So there's those two, but then so many others as well.
Yeah.
So many others. You know, some of the sea snakes I still haven't seen, striking colours on them, and I just find them fascinating. Some of the octopuses you see.
Octopus are amazing, aren't
I
they?
love them. I absolutely love them. They're amazing
Cuttlefish, we
creatures.
followed this amazing cuttlefish in the Red Sea again, and honestly, me and two mates, we followed it for, it seemed like hours, and just watching it change colour, and then it shoot off, and then it slow down and wait for us to catch up, and it, honestly, absolutely
Fantastic.
incredible.
Yeah, it's
But that's
amazing.
just the whole dive experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
For those that don't, we every time we go diving, we go, oh, did you see that?
you see
And there's
something
always
else.
that experience of, that's why we love it. That's why we do what we do.
But most
And-
things are shallow.
Yes,
You
they are.
don't- Like you
They
said
are.
earlier, you don't
Yeah.
need to go so deep.
No,
It's
that's
like
right.
10 metres,
It
15
is.
metres
Yeah.
maximum.
Well, once you get beyond that, there's a lot less light. There's a lot less
Exactly.
colour.
Yeah.
So for me, if I never went below 20 metres,
It wouldn't bother you.
It wouldn't bother me. It genuinely wouldn't bother
I'm
me.
much the same, to be honest.
You know, because you think, wow, you know, and every dive you can do a dive. Some dives I've done a couple of dozen times. Every time it's different, and I've seen
Exactly,
something
yeah.
different. You know,
It's
and
never the
lovely.
same, is it?
No,
Never
the
the
light
same.
will change,
No.
the wildlife will change. You know, it's just brilliant.
So let me ask you from a conservation point of view, because that's clearly something very dear to your heart. What worries you the most, both land and sea, as far as conservation is concerned?
The human population, I think, is the simple answer. You know, you look at all the kind of problems we've got, or nearly all of them: global warming, deforestation,
Plastics.
plastics. It's all all comes down to too many people. You know, we got over 7 billion people on Earth now.
Do you
I think
it's too many people, or do you think it's the mentality of those
attitudes?
people?
It's both, but I think mainly it's too many people. I think this Earth could comfortably hold maybe
half
3.5 billion.
So deforestation just to grow crops.
Absolutely, to grow crops to feed people like ourselves, you know. And I'm not blaming people over there. I'm blaming all of us.
Not you, because you don't eat salad. Do you?
I don't eat salad. No, but I, you know, but I do eat meat.
But those poor cows.
That's exactly it. You know, so we've all got to think about what we're doing, I think, and I think we've got to start grasping the nettle of people having 7, 8, 9, 10 kids, you know. That really is going to become taboo and say, listen, whoa, it's not the done thing. I'm not saying only have one kid or only have two, don't have any more, because some people won't want any kids. But I think it's irresponsible in this day and age for people to have 4, 5, 6,
Even
7,
if you have
kids.
1 or 2 kids, it's still the population will increase and increase and increase.
Well, and there will come a time when you haven't got that kind of choice. You know, there's not going to be enough land left for us to, you know, to cultivate some more and what have you. But I do worry, and I do worry about the fact that it's all very well for us. We're hopefully preaching to the converted here. Yeah. But outside of that, you've 80% of the population who don't know about plastic pollution, who don't know about deforestation, and actually don't care.
No.
As long as they've got a roof over their heads, as long as they've got cheap food, as long as they've got their drinks and what have you.
There is a lot of people.
It's the vast majority of people.
I think the planet could cope with, you know, maybe not as many people as here, but certainly a lot of people if we didn't have such a disposable attitude to life. Yeah, I remember when a kid went going shopping with my mum and she'd take the bottles with to get them filled and
that's right. The old Corona bottles.
It's the convenience. The convenience is killing the planet.
Milk bottles.
It was. That's right.
Yeah, took them back and get your tuppence back on.
And do you know what? It was only last week I went into a cafe in Newtown, my local town in Mid Wales here, and there were 2 ladies doing lunch, and then they ordered. I can't remember, but both of them had chips with whatever it was and this and that. One ate about half of hers. The other one barely touched the meal. And that was it. And I was so tempted to go over and just ram it down her throat. But I
know what you mean.
Because of the waste.
Yeah.
And I'd really want to go and say, excuse me.
Why did you order that? Why didn't you not just share?
Well, why not share, or why not get a sandwich, or whatever it was.
Anything.
And that happens
disposable
in every
society.
cafe, in every restaurant in the UK, every single day. And whilst we have that attitude, it's not going to get any better.
No,
it really isn't.
We weren't wasteful. We got you a cup and we didn't put anything in it whatsoever.
I know. Where's my cup of tea? I tell you what, that is brilliant. It's got my name on there, and it's got the Dive Line podcast. Love your oceans. That's a good motto. Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And amazing, I managed to get it all the way here to Wales without dropping it once.
Yeah, I'm amazed, to be honest. So I mean that people in population, it works above the water and below, doesn't it? That's
it does.
The problem
it does.
For both, obviously, with the plastics.
And I got mates, you know, who dive. Pembrokeshire particularly, they'll go once a week and they'll clear out, you know, fishing line hooks, weights, plastic and everything, and they do a brilliant job. They do a brilliant job. If only people realise, you know, I think a lot of divers do that, you know, because they do care about their environment. They do care, and it's we've got.
We see the change before anyone else.
Yeah, we do.
Divers see the change very early, don't you? You notice the bottles and the plastics, and you know, picking up I picked up a Pepsi can. It said it was the Los Angeles Olympics. 1984 or something, you know, it's just still here. It doesn't go anywhere, and you think, oh, for God's sake, you know, put it in my bag.
But I think it's also the when, like you say, pulling out all these ghost fish and stuff, but turning it now into material that can put it into clothing.
That's right.
That's brilliant.
That's what we should have been doing 30, 40 years ago. We should have been thinking about that then. We wouldn't be in the mess we're in now.
But that was the point. They're growing the disposable attitude and the convenient shopping.
That's right.
And so thought was never there back then on that.
Well,
that's where it needs to be.
Isn't it? It's supermarkets.
Well, it's all driven by government, really, isn't it?
But I mean, supermarkets have played a huge part in
convenience, haven't they?
Yeah.
Do you think Tesco's will sponsor us now?
No, nor Sainsbury's. No, don't go to Marks and Spencer.
That's buggered that plan, lads. That's gone right out the window. But my biggest worry with the marine environment, and I've seen it happen time and again, is that it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you said. We see it first.
Yeah.
You go
Because
on
it's
to walk
washed down
and
the
it worries
rivers
you.
and
it's like now kind of Cardigan Bay, which is a lovely part of West Wales, huge bay, bottlenose dolphins in there. You get leatherback turtles coming up in the summer. It's a cracking area. Wow. And they allow scallop dredging over large areas of it. And they'll say, oh no, we've looked into this, it doesn't cause that much
it rips the
damage.
Whole bottom of the
I've dived an area before and after.
And you see the difference, it's unbelievable.
And it's akin to taking the best hay meadow we have on land, full of these amazing orchids, full of flowers and invertebrates, and then ploughing it up.
That's exactly, it's a great analogy. It's
but
exactly
because
the same.
It's out of sight, the Welsh government couldn't give a toss, couldn't give two hoots about it.
Yeah.
I've interviewed the Environment Minister, you know, and it was like interviewing a plank. Yeah. Oh no, we've looked into it, blah blah blah. I said, have you dived it before? Have you dived it afterwards? You know, and it's...
but common sense tells you that's not going to be good.
No, but you're talking about common sense and politicians. And that's an oxymoron, I'm afraid. Yeah. You know, it really is. Yeah. It's... there we are.
So what's next for Iolo Williams? What have you got coming up, and what have you got planned?
Local stuff, really. You've got a series on Pembrokeshire coming up for BBC. Autumn Watch will be just around the corner, you know, and we used to do a bit of diving for the watches as well, but with money hemorrhaging out of TV these days, it's getting more and more difficult to do those because of the money it takes. You know, you've got to have safety divers and all this kind of stuff. And all that. But I'm still hoping, you know, that we can still sneak in some kind of diving into the watches, because I'll never forget diving with pike in Stony Cove. It's bloody amazing. You know, I just thought, wow, you know, huge female pike with 5 males after it, and you're thinking, it's going right past me, this is, you know. So hopefully there will be an aspect of diving in that. As for other work, as for diving, I should say, probably what are we, September, October is when I pop down Pembrokeshire and have a couple of days diving. It's a good time to go, because most people have gone home. Yeah. And if you get a run of good weather, you know, visibility could be 10 metres.
Yeah. So whereabouts in Pembrokeshire? Is there certain spots?
Martin's Haven's a good little spot. You know, that's a shore dive, walk in and what have you. That's quite nice. If I can get back out of Skomer. The Smalls, which is way out. There's a lighthouse out there, and if you dive there, you get seals for company, so that's quite cool. Yeah. So and then Anglesey will be there, and I haven't dived with Martin up on Anglesey for quite a few years now, and that's long overdue.
So that's just pleasure, isn't it?
That's just pleasure. Yeah, this isn't telly, nothing to do. That's just pleasure, which is what I enjoy the most. You know, because there's one thing I do not like is the open,
the
full face mask diving. Going down, you know, you're thinking, my ears hurt, and look at the size of my nose, right? They give you 2 little balls to shove in your nose so that you can equalise. Not open hell with that nose. Look at that thing. They can give me 2 cups to shove up my nose.
But as long as the director gets your voice and he can hear you talking about the turtle, he's happy. Sod your ears.
Hang on, I'm going to come back up a bit. I'm going to equalise. Hold on, and then down again, you know, because with that nose, there's not a hole. It'll be hopefully a variety of stuff. And if the TV comes to an end, it comes to an end. I've had 20-something years. I've had a great time. I'll still dive. I'll still go up on the moors to look at my beloved birds as well, you know, so not much is going to change, hopefully.
And look at, like we've said, look where you're doing it. And
look at your backyard.
I mean, I wake up every morning and look out and I think, it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive.
Lovely.
Yeah, well, talking about pleasure, it's been an absolute pleasure for us, for you coming out and having a chat with us, inviting us up to such a location. It's just amazing. Absolutely beautiful, so we really do appreciate that, and hopefully we'll catch up with you again, maybe in Pembrokeshire or
when you
Norfolk.
Or come up to Norfolk and have a dive with us next season on the chalk reefs, and we'll show you some of the wildlife we've got there.
And, that was a bee. Common carder bee. Harmless, honestly, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, thanks for the invitation as well. I've loved it, and when I'm over in Norfolk, I promise I've never dived Norfolk. So it'd be nice to, with a couple of local lads who know this stuff.
Summertime
is amazing.
Cracking. Sort of July.
Yeah, the water's August. Very brown right the way through until July, and then it just goes blue. We don't get huge viz, but 4 or 5 metres, plenty. Yeah. We've got some wrecks like the Rosalie where you can literally walk in off the beach and you can see the mast at low tide sticking up, and fantastic wildlife and really rich. Been down since 1911. That wreck went down in the Second World War. It was torpedoed by a U-boat. Yeah. So that's quite interesting to see the old boilers laying on the side. And then we've got the chalk reef that we mentioned, and it's the second largest chalk reef in Europe or the world?
No, the largest in Europe.
You're largest in Europe, second largest chalk reef in the world.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds brilliant.
I think someone had a video of back last month, tiny little baby cuttlefish in their chalk reef. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that?
And this is Norfolk. Yeah. This isn't the Bahamas or whatever. This is Norfolk.
Exactly.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And a few beers. As long as there's a few beers.
As long as there's a few beers.
And a steak.
And a steak, yeah.
And the rugby on.
Yeah, as long as Wales win. That'll do me. Cracking, lads.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you, lads.